Yo, guys, what is up? We're back with part 2 of What If Ichigo Joined Aizen. Now, where we left off originally is basically Ichigo had just arrived at Las Noches. He had become like the new successor after Aizen. So basically, if anything were to happen to Aizen, Ichigo would basically be the Soul King. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the what if. Now we basically start this what if, or resume the what if. Um, the night after, or the day after Ichigo had gotten there, he would receive a knock at the door, and he'd see this person with pale skin and black hair and green eyes. This person was none other than Ukiura Siffer, and he'd say, "Kurosaki Ichigo, Aizen-sama has requested your presence." After this, Ichigo would pretty much just nod and thank Ukiura, and he would then put on his new clothes, since they can't be the Shinigami clothes, since he's not a Shinigami anymore. So he'd have to put on the Espada clothing. Now, I know it's not really that much of a drip, but hey, is what is. Nah, just kidding, no. But basically, Ichigo would pretty much walk through the hallways, and uh, he'd almost get lost, but realizing the hollow techniques, he'd just use Pesquisa and he would be fine. He'd walk through the hallways and he'd find his way into none other than the throne room where Aizen is. When he'd walk in, he says, Aizen say, Kurosaki Ichigo, come forward. After this, Ichigo would walk forward, and Aizen would snap his fingers, and there would be millions of Asuchis. And Aizen would say, "You know what these are?" Ichigo would say, "No, what are they?" Aizen would say, "These are Asuchi. These are bladeless swords, that have no users, and they're just that blank. So if somebody, for example, you were to get this, you could get a Zanbakuto." Ichigo would say, "Why does this even matter to me? I already have a Zanbakuto, Zangetsu." Aizen would say, "And you misunderstand. Zangetsu isn't Zangetsu, and actually, the real Zangetsu is that inner hollow of yours that you call." Ichigo would say, "How do you even know that?" Aizen would then say, "Well, it was all in my plan. I created your Zanpakuto." After this, Ichigo would pretty much be shocked, and Aizen would say, "You should ask more questions. You shouldn't just be so obedient." After this, he'd hand Ichigo two Asuchis. He said, try to focus your energy on this. Focus your soul on it. Try to find your soul." After this, Ichigo, with the knowledge of everything, basically, he was already debriefed of everything but the chapter by Ishin before he left. And it's one of the reasons he actually did leave. Now, Ichigo would pretty much go in his inner world, and he'd start questioning the old man Zangetsu, saying that, who are you? Saying, since he didn't actually meet Yawatch yet, Zangetsu pretty much say that he's actually like the incarnation of Yuhabach, the Quincy King. And he's the reason why people like Uyu have Quincy powers. And he's saying that he's not actually Zanpakuto. He's just a representation of his Quincy powers. So anytime that Ichigo was about to die, it wasn't him that saved him. It was his Zanpakuto. Zangetsu, pretty much. Anytime he couldn't wield his Zanbakuto properly, which is literally stated in the chapter. I literally have the volume next to me. It stated that when Ichigo couldn't handle using his Zanbakuto, Zangetsu would just pull up, the masquerade form pretty much. And this was like, old man Zangetsu say this was Zangetsu's way of basically seeing if Ichigo is worthy of his power, just testing him so he can get stronger and stronger. After this, Zangetsu would about to disappear, and basically say, would go through the whole thing, would say, "Both of you are Zangetsu." When this would take place, Ichigo would pretty much get the dual wield Zangetsu. Now, in the real world, Las Noches would be freaking shaking. Aizen would have to use a high level keto to reinforce the Las Noches castle, and he has to use his own Ryatsu with the Hogyoku a little bit to defend the castle itself. He would be kind of shocked at Ichigo's strength, but this is what he's been waiting for. This strength was so powerful, it even exceeded his own. But he would quickly erase that thought, saying that nobody's stronger than him. After this, Ichigo would wake up, and not wake up, but have the two blades in his hands. And he says, both of these are Sangetsu. I can say, magnificence. You've truly are a wonderful test, Kurosaki Ichigo. Now, if nobody really knows that you actually, joined me. So, there's actually a Zanpakuto rebellion going on in the Soul Society, and the Soul Society assumes that you're still their ally. So why don't you head over there and save them? After this, Aizen would say, I assume you know the Garganta, so I don't need to open one for you. Ichigo would then raise his hand and open the portal after getting some drip. Let's just say he gets this similar drip to what he gets in the manga, because that is drippy, like the traveler's suit, not the actual the one that's in Rogex's channel picture, like the other one. The one with a hood and it's greenish. You know what I mean. Hopefully you guys read the manga. Ichigo would then rip open a Garganta and run through before coming into Soul Society. Ichigo would pretty much run in, and he'd see none other than Sodeno Shirayuki attacking Rukia. Ichigo would pretty much get between them and basically raise his finger towards Sodeno Shirayuki, and he would say, Bakudo number 61. Rikujo Kuro. After this, he would pretty much have to use all of his power into this, since he just started learning Keto, so he's not fresh. He's pretty fresh at it. That's what I meant to say. After this, 6 bars of light would pretty much restrict Sodeno Shirayuki's move. After this, Ichigo would hear Zangetsu, old man Zangetsu, basically say that there's a Ryatsu that's influencing the Zanpakutos. And, since he's not actually a Zanpakuto, he'll be fine. After this, basically Ichigo would backtrace the Ryatsu, and he would see that it's this Zanpakuto called Muramasa. After this, he'd flash that behind Muramasa and say, I guess I found you. After this, Muramasa would turn around and say, Kurosaki Ichigo, I've been waiting for you. He would then try to use his powers to basically steal Ichigo's Zanpakuto, and this would actually work. And none other than Old Man Zangetsu would come out, and Ichigo would pretty much go back to Shika with only the hollow blade. But this is what Zangetsu is playing, or Old Man Zangetsu is planning. Zangetsu, actually the white Zangetsu, pretty much tell Ichigo that you ready to fight, partner. After this, Ichigo would nod, mentally, and Zangetsu and Zangetsu and Ichigo versus Old Man Zangetsu would go down, with Old Man Zangetsu only really having the Quincy blade, or not the Quincy blade, but he'd make his own sword out of his Quincy powers. Muramasa wouldn't really second guess this, since hey, it is what it is. They're still fighting. After this, Zangetsu and Ichigo would pretty much have a good battle, with Ichigo basically putting his hands together, and it looks like a Jujutsu Kaisen hand sign. He would basically say Bakudo number 99, part 1, Kin, which means restrict. After this, ropes would start to wrap around Zangetsu. After this, Ichigo would use Bakudo number 99, part 2, and the 100 mummified wraps start to wrap around Zangetsu, and he'd start to get those 100 needles at the wraps, pretty much sealing it. Then he'd go Bakudo number 99, part 3, and Bonkin. And then he would basically look like he actually sealed Zangetsu. But it isn't true. Zangetsu pretty much just turned into air particles, or Ryatsu, and basically teleported beside uh, old man, not old man, Ichigo, before pretty much turning back into sword form, into the Quincy blade. Uh, Muramasa would be confused, like, I thought I took your Zanpakuto. What is this? Ichigo would pick up the blade. He says, "You didn't take my Zanpakuto. That wasn't even my Zanpakuto. It was my Quincy representation." After this, Ichigo would use Getsuga, Jujisho. After this, a cross beam of light would pretty much hit head straight for Muramasa, and he'd be erased from existence. And this would pretty much end the Zanpakuto Rebellion arc with Ichigo and Soul Society basically working together, quote unquote, to reunite the Zanpakutos to their owners, and they'd actually go back to their sword form. After this, Ichigo would be known as a hero yet again, but not a single thanks from Soul Society. Ichigo would be infuriated, but he was already used to this. It's not like it's something new. Soul Society's always been doing this. There was actually another reason why Aizen actually let Ichigo go. He actually gave Ichigo a side mission. He has to infiltrate the Sunayushiro noble clan area, and he has to steal some information. Ichigo would pretty much quickly open like a scroll, but not like a scroll. It's like a something where you put stuff in a keto. He then take out a black cloak. Now this wasn't just any ordinary black cloak. It was the black cloak, the one that Kisuke used to sneak up on Aizen, the one that Aizen used to in everything but the rain, um, the stealth cloak. Ichigo would pretty much quickly put this on, and he would basically reform Zangetsu into a blade, so it's actually more accommodating. Then he would actually seal the blade into air particles or Ryatsu particles before basically heading out. Ichigo would head towards the Sanayusho family, and he would quickly slit anyone's throats there on the way there, or just kill them pretty much with a Byakurai to the heart. Any killing tactics he could come up with. He would then flash tap into the Sanayusho base, and normally any person would be detected, and the alarms would go off, and the defense system would activate. But since Ichigo has the Ryatsu concealing cloak, they wouldn't actually detect him. Ichigo would actually go through some files, getting the files of none other than the Soul King, which Aizen is curious about. He needs to know how to defeat the Soul King. And basically, since there's the five noble clans, they all have a way to become Soul King, but they never truly wanted to due to the implications, and they were too scared of the effects. Just like Kisuke Urahara, he never went against the Soul King because he was actually scared of what could happen if he did. Ichigo would quickly go through the files and pick out any outstanding ones before just quickly writing them down using a Kido. Ichigo would then basically put them into his little pocket or inside pocket of the cloak, and he'd head out flash stepping to the Urkonge district number 54 before ripping open a Garganta and jumping through. Ichigo would then flash step to Sonido flash step Hiranku basically all put together, and he would head towards the throne room. Ichigo would then hand the file to Aizen. He says, and Aizen would pretty much say, "Good work, Ichigo. We're closer and closer to the battle of the Winter War starting." After this next day, Aizen would say, "We have a meeting." Aizen would pretty much then use Bakudo number 77, Tentakura. After this, Aizen would pretty much use Tentakura with everyone in Soul Society in the Serite, and he would announce that his call of war, saying that in 4 months he's declaring war on Soul Society in 4 months, and he's gonna he's gonna get the Oaken and take down the Soul King, and there won't be anything that'll stop them. He'd basically tell them where the battle is gonna be, which is Karakura Town. Now, in this timeline, damn, in this timeline, Soul Society would still have the fake Karakura thing, and they'd still be building up the projects. Now, pretty much the Arrancar arc would start with Aizen slowly sending more Arrancars towards Karakura Town. Now, in this timeline, they wouldn't really handle that as much since they don't have Ichigo on their side. and they don't have Chad, Uryu, or Hime there, since they all fled to not fled, but they all came to Las Noches, where they're all currently getting stronger and stronger as well. Now, Ichigo would basically just be reading books about what keto is and any forbidden keto or healing keto so he can heal himself. Even though he has high speed regeneration, if he runs out of Ryatsu, he has a second option. Ichigo would pretty much receive the news about the Hellverse going on. He says like his sister was kidnapped, and he was like if you guys don't know, in Hellverse, Ichigo was there only because he was only a substitute Soul Reaper. Now he's like a hollow, part Quincy, part Shinigami, part Fullbring. Now Ichigo is forced to go to the hell itself. Ichigo would pretty much head over to Urahara's shop before asking Urahara. Basically asking Urahara that he needs a way to get to the hell. Urahara would say that, all right, Kurosaki-san. He would then do some forbidden keto, whatever you want to do, and he would open a portal to hell with the help of Ichigo's knowledge from Aizen's books of keto. He would be able to pitch in as well. Kisuke would be a little surprised by Ichigo's development in keto and wondering, since Kisuke was like wondering, his intelligence was almost surpassing his, but Kisuke really just takes a cake when it comes to mastery of keto. Ichigo would then pretty much head through the hell and with all his friends and his timeline, and they pretty much gutter stomped any of the enemies there. And Ichigo would pretty much almost conquer hell. He would actually conquer hell. This is another side mission. Yeah, he's saving Yuzu and Karin, but he has another mission there. He has two missions there. But it's like one is really open and one is like secretly disguised as a mission. Ichigo would pretty much go to hell and basically take down everyone, even the head gate, the guardian of hell, the person that protects hell and sends those little soldiers of hell. You would then pretty much get in a big battle with him, and let's just say that the person has the power that they gave to Ichigo, so it's like a big demonic creature, and Ichigo would be throwing everything at them. Getsuga Ceros, and he'd get pretty mad. He's not gonna fight this guy for long. He has limited Ryatsu. Just because he has almost unlimited Ryatsu doesn't mean he has unlimited Ryatsu. Ichigo raised his sword in the air, his two blades, before using Hado number 99, Goryo Tenmetsu. After this, 5 blue dragons would arise from the ground, and Ichigo would charge towards the creature before the creature would pretty much get cuts everywhere on its body. After this, Ichigo would say, "I'm done with you. You're out of here." He would then raise his 2 blades in the air and go Bankai. He then come out with his Horn of Salvation Bankai, and he'd be like, "You're out of here," before completely splitting the creature in half with a Getsuga Green Ray Sero. This would pretty much cause the whole world to shake. Like whole Soul Society, Wake Mundo, World of the Living. Everything would pretty much shake from how much power Ichigo is using to basically conquer hell. Aizen would be feeling this power. He's like, "That's quite the bankai you have, Kurosaki Ichigo. That's wonderful development. You might even beat me. But once I fuse with the Hokyoku, it'll be quite hard for you." After this, he'd be watching and really be, just like how he always did, planning everything. Ichigo would finish his military campaign in hell, and he'd give the land to Aizen, just like he promised. And 2 months later, the war with Karakura Town is coming closer and closer until the day it happens. Everyone get ready. They'd be in their battle armor, the Espada outfit. They have Ukiura, Grimmjow, all the Espada, since none of them really would die since there was no invasion on Soul Society. Aizen would still, in this timeline, Aizen would task some, let's say Ukiura would stay behind, or no, let's just say some, some Espada would stay behind to guard Wake Mundo. When this would take place, Aizen, Ichigo, and the rest, like Chad, Uryu, or Hime, would head towards the world of the living, and everyone would be shocked. Why is Ichigo Kurosaki next to Aizen? But they didn't really have time, as Yamamoto used Anestu Jaku, I think its name. It's basically the fire trap that he used in Light Cannon. Ichigo would be kind of annoyed at this, but he couldn't do anything about it. I mean, he could, but Aizen just told him to stay put. You know, you don't want to use all your soul. He says like this was a battle strategy they came up with the night before, so he'd just stay there and watch. All the fights would pretty much go a little different to canon, with like people like Stark and Harry Bell. They would have a little more of an advantage in their battles, since number one they would get stronger by Ichigo's presence there. Since Ichigo himself has learned the abilities instinctively, he had actually taught them like Grand Seros and how to use your sword more intuitively. So they'd be a little stronger than usual. And Ichigo would find out about Ukiura's Sigil and the Etapa. And pretty much like people like Stark and Harry Bell would pretty much unlock one as well. Just it wouldn't really change their look much. It would just give them a 10 times power boost. So yeah. In this timeline, uh, Stark would still get destroyed and unfortunately die, but he would definitely get more knocks off uh on Kiraku, and Lily would still die, and Harry Bell would still die, but it wouldn't be by Aizen. It would be by Toshiro. Um, After this, Kanpachi and Byakuya would pull up with Unohana, and Ichigo would say, he has some business, not some business, but basically the rest of the Espada would fight, and what's his name, Baragon would still die, and even if he doesn't die by Soifan or Hachi, he would die by Byakuya, because number one, you can't actually de-age Byakuya's petals because they're eternal spring. You can't actually do, you can't rot eternal spring. Yeah, so he would either die by Soifan and Hachi or Byakuya Kuchiki. After this, Kenpachi would pull up. He's like, Kurosaki Ichigo, it's time for us to fight again, just wanting to fight. After this, Aizen, like, once the fire prison would go down, there'd be Kenpachi, Yamamoto, and the rest of the captains. There'd be no lieutenants since they'd be knocked out, and this would start the big battle between the captains and Aizen. Aizen, so you can go fight Kenpachi. After this, Kenpachi would pretty much be fighting, and he'd be fighting Ichigo. They'd be getting some similar knocks off. They'd be drawing at similar blades. Clashing at similar times when they swing, and Ichigo would get tired of this. He would use Getsuga to just show. After this, yeah, Kenpachi could see the power by this, and he would quickly take off his eye patch, and Unohana would be seeing this, and he's wondering, will Ichigo be the one that actually pretty much takes away her sin? Like, she's the one that made Kenpachi seal away his own power. After this, Kenpachi would start fighting Ichigo, and slowly and slowly he would start using more power to stop unconsciously holding back his power. And finally he would be able to hear Zanpakuto just a little bit. But this wouldn't really help much before Ichigo would pretty much slash him down, cutting the open of his chest, and he'd pretty much be knocked out for the count. Ichigo would then look towards Unohana and basically tell her that she still has a chance to basically fight Kanpachi for the death battle thing, since number one, he didn't actually like release his own power. He didn't get Shika or anything. So after this, Ichigo would walk away and basically fight with Aizen. After after Aizen would quickly fold the captains with them thinking they stabbed Aizen through the heart, but they stabbed Momo. This would pretty much start a chain reaction, which would cause all the captains to be cut down. Then Kisuke, Ishin, and Yoruichi would pop up, and Yoruichi would say something about like her being disappointed in Ichigo and why he would join Aizen. Ichigo would say that you really don't understand anything. You being from the Shihoan clan, you don't really you can't really have a perspective here. Because she doesn't understand. After this, they'd be forced to fight each other. It would be a 3v2 with Kisuke using every Kido in the book, but Aizen wouldn't be able to survive. Ichigo would be fighting. Ichigo would realize that he doesn't really need to be fighting them. Aizen can take them on. Aizen would start merging with Hokoku, and this would pretty much mark the end for Kisuke, Ishin, and Yoruichi. After this, Gin would, in this timeline, I really don't want Gin to betray Aizen. Let's just say Ichigo's, like just his presence himself, really made him rethink his choice to betray Aizen. I don't know. I just like Gin. He seemed like a good character. He has a lot of potential. It's like he could be like one of the Zero Squad members after Aizen becomes Soul King. Speaking of the Soul King, Aizen would pretty much collect all the 100,000 souls from Karakura Town after heading to the real Karakura Town, and Ichigo's friends would be like really awestruck. Why would Ichigo, side with the enemy? After this, they'd pretty much collect all the Ichigo and Aizen would get the Oken in themselves, and they'd head over to the Soul King Palace, the Soul Palace. After this, they'd be met up by none other. They'd be intercepted by none other than the Zero Squad, with Otetsu, Senjomaru, Hikafune, and Ichebe, and Kirinji, I think his name. Um, the Zero Squad will pretty much put up a good fight, but with Aizen and the Hokuku and Ichigo and True Bankai, they're not actually putting up any fight. Otetsu would be cut down because Aizen because can evolve above him. Aizen and Ichigo would be not Namaya. Ichebe because they could just outdo him in Kido, even though Ichebe knows a lot of Kido. They would just seal him and make sure that he never says their name. So they would seal him, and there's like a counteractive. So even if they say his name, he won't be resurrected. After this, they take down Hikafune, and then finally they take down Senjomaru and Kirinji as well. Aizen would be looking at the Soul King, and it says, Ichigo, you can deal the final blow. And Ichigo would gather Ryatsu into his blade before really slashing the Soul King in half. The world would start to shake for a bit before Aizen would basically be a big glow with Aizen. Before, instead of a yellow like shell, it would be a throne there, and there would Aizen be there sitting there, and he'd be the Soul King. His look would change a lot, but he'd still look like Mook and Aizen, and he kind of would look like Mook and Aizen because that is just too drippy. After this, Aizen would tell him that if Ichigo wanted to, he can go back to the world of the living, and he can live his life there. Or if he wanted to, he can live in Soul Society, or Hell if he wanted to. He can also live in a Soul Palace. After this, Ichigo would choose that he actually wants to live in the Soul Palace. That's the best place for Ichigo to live. Ichigo and Orihime would still get married like in canon. They still have their kid Kazui. And this would mark the end of what if Ichigo joined Aizen. Would basically people like Kisuke, Ishin, Yoruichi, and other Soul Reapers, the whole society would have a reformation. The Rokage wouldn't be as poor and dirty. Everything would be pretty modernized there. Everyone would have a pretty good job, and the society wouldn't be as corrupt. Now, without further ado, guys, peace out.